WQLU, Lynchburg.
A broadcast service of Liberty University.
Real faith, real music, real loud. You're listening to 90.9.
Hey everybody, what's up? I'm TJ.
And I'm Zach. If you're an early riser and love sports, check out our show, Zero Quarters.
Every Saturday morning at 10, you get to hear us, Jordan Barnett and Bennett Davis, as we discuss the hottest topics in the world of sports.
Not to mention the hottest takes, debates, predictions, and even more.
I mean, there's never a dull moment with us.
And it's free to listen. Join us on the air or online at liberty.edu/The Light.
Or you can download the 90.9 The Light app from the App Store or Google Play.
So in the news this week, Rick Pitino, Iona coach, getting a lifetime contract, makes us think of a funny story.
Hey, Ma, this guy owns his own school. If I was general manager, they would be a Super Bowl team in 3 years.
Clemson was sorry in football this year. They're sorry in basketball this year. That was the sorriest thing I've ever seen.
Live from Lynchburg, Virginia, inside the studios of 90.9 The Light, it's The Morning Drive, starring Josiah Elmore and Scout Hughes.
And good morning, Lynchburg. How we doing? This is The Morning Drive on 90.9 The Light, WQLU Lynchburg. I'm your host for the week, Mr. Scout Hughes. Alongside me, I have the great Jarrett Harper in the studio with us today. He was here with us yesterday. Jarrett, it's good to have you back.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
We have a slam-packed show for you today, as we always do on this day in history. The ALE standings, because that Mayo Bath is just that much important. We're going to talk about the Western Conference of the NBA playoffs. We're going to talk about baseball attendance numbers today.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to focus on two specific teams. One on the East Coast, one on the West Coast. And then a historic coach in college basketball announced his retirement yesterday, and they already announced his replacement. We'll get more on that as the show moves on here on the Morning Light. The Morning Light? The Morning Drive on the Light. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, whether it be on the 90.9 app, which is on the App Store for Apple users and the Google Play Store for our Android users. Also, thelight.com. Yeah, I think it's liberty.edu/thelight. And, of course, the 90.9 on your radio dial in the Lynchburg area. What do you say we'll just dive right into on this day in history?
Sounds good.
And literally the first thing that I saw, and it's funny, on this day in 1977, Yankees manager Billy Martin picks his lineup out of a hat. He picks his lineup out of a hat.
What year was it? 77?
1977.
I want to see how good that team was.
And that team, on that day, beat the Blue Jays 8-6.
They won 100 games that year, so.
That blows my mind. That blows my mind. Oh, my gosh. That's crazy. On this day in 1982, the Atlanta Braves win their 13th straight game. Just something cool to throw out there. Sticking with baseball, we're going way back. 1904. Hall of Famer Ty Cobb makes his pro debut for Augusta of the South Atlantic League in the minors. Moving on down, sticking with baseball, on this day in 1989, former President of the United States, George W. Bush, not H.W. Bush, but just George W. Bush, and Edward W. Rose become joint CEOs of the Texas Rangers. Now, I know he's from Texas.
Yeah.
But
I wonder how long that lasted.
I wonder that, too. I wonder if it... surely he's not still.
Yeah, you think at least when he became president, it would have had to go away.
On this day, in 1995, Switching to basketball. The Boston Celtics' final regular season game at the old Boston Garden. The Knicks would beat the Celtics 98-92. And this was the same Boston Garden where, on this day yesterday, Michael Jordan set a playoff record of 63 points in the postseason. On this day, excuse me, I got to get some water, but I do have some coffee right here. That might work too. On this day in 2001, kind of a local news, per se, the NFL Draft. The Atlanta Falcons select Michael Vick with the first overall pick, quarterback from Virginia Tech. He would play from 2001 to 2015 or 16. 15 or 16?
I have no idea because he spent a couple years on the Steelers at the end on the bench, so I don't know what year he actually retired.
Yeah. His career spanned over 4 teams: the Atlanta Falcons, the Philadelphia Eagles, the New York Jets for a time. I feel like everyone goes to the Jets though.
I forgot about the Jets.
And the Pittsburgh Steelers. I feel like everyone goes to the Jets at some point. Like Brett Favre went to the Jets for a time. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Michael Vick was on the Jets.
Le'Veon Bell's another random.
Yes, just a random player. Is that where Well, take this lightly. Is that where players go to die, to end their career?
It's where their careers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, we love the Jets. On this day, in 2018, the Oakland A's left-hander Sean Manaea hits a no-hitter versus the Boston Red Sox. And speaking of the Boston Red Sox, we're going to take a quick peek at our AL East standings. Congratulations, Baltimore. You won a game.
We won a game.
Who'd y'all beat?
The Athletics.
We'll get to them later on in the show. Oh, goodness. So the Blue Jays and the Yankees are tied for first at 7-5 apiece. Then you got the Rays at 7-6.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Boston, who's 6-6. I don't think they've played a game since yesterday.
I don't think so.
And you got Baltimore, who won a game.
Yeah. So,
Jarrett, what are the odds that I get dunked in mayonnaise?
They're pretty high.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm an Orioles fan. I don't see us finishing 4
right.
for higher.
All right. Well, that sounds good to me. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Western Conference NBA playoffs because we didn't get a chance to get there yesterday. We mentioned the Eastern Conference yesterday, and we're going to get right to it for you right here on the Morning Drive on 90.9 The Light.
Listen up. Here's a riddle. Try to guess what it is. It can make you feel good. It can make you sharp. So sharp. The life of the party. On a roll. It can give you ideas upon ideas, turn you on, make you feel unstoppable. It can get you to buy things and do things that you'll regret. And then it changes everything. It makes the brightest day dark and sucks the color out of your life. It makes you feel too weak to get out of bed. Okay, do you know what it is? It's bipolar disorder. It is real, and over 2 million American adults have been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Unfortunately, many who live with it have been misdiagnosed for years or don't even know anything is wrong. With help, you can get better. Take a simple step. It's something you should find out about. To receive more information or to obtain help, call 1-800-969-NMHA or go to nmha.org. That's 1-800-969-NMHA or nmha.org.
Liberty Flames baseball is ready to rise to the occasion in 2022, and 90.9 The Light is here to bring you the action with Nick Pierce behind the mic for the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner.
High fly ball, wallop deep left center, that ball's gone!
Head coach Scott Jackson looks to lead the Flames to their 3rd NCAA regional in a row, behind stars such as Aaron Anderson and Derek Orndorff.
On the run, leaping, and he caught it!
Go to libertyflames.com for the broadcast schedule. Games can also be heard online at libertyflames.com and on the 90.9 mobile app.
If I could be you,
and you could be me,
for just 1 hour.
if you could find a way
to get inside
each other's mind,
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
And welcome back to the Morning Drive on 90.9 The Light. Scout Hughes, Jarrett Harper. We're going to get into the Western Conference playoffs. And if you've seen, I watched a few NBA games last night. They were fantastic. But it was a lot of concern, especially at the top of the Western Conference. If you didn't hear, Devin Booker will not play in games 3 and 4. It's either he's not playing or he's very unlikely to.
I had not heard that yet.
But that news broke yesterday that he will not be playing in games 3 and 4. And here's the thing, Jarrett. Mm-hmm. Games 3 and 4 are in New Orleans. And New Orleans ended up tying the series 2 days ago. And so now it's 1-1 going into New Orleans. And, well, here's my thing. New Orleans doesn't really have that big of a fan base.
Yeah,
they don't have the people come to the games.
It's not the hardest place to play.
Right. I'm pretty sure Zion doesn't want to be there either.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
I mean, the dude's doing like 360 dunks before games, but he's not playing.
But he's not playing.
Because he's hurt.
But he's not playing. The point is there any concern for Phoenix going into games 3 and 4 without Devin Booker?
I think there is some concern, especially, I mean, Brandon Ingram's a really good player on the other side.
Yeah, he's an all-star.
And who knows, maybe Zion sees a chance to make a run and laces up the shoes again.
I hope you're right, but
I think there's a little bit of concern, but I don't think it's anything that they can't overcome.
Okay. I mean, you're right. They still have a fantastic veteran leadership in Chris Paul. They still got young guys like DeAndre Ayton. Even though Devin Booker's not there, he can still cheer you on from the sidelines or from the bench. And you got Mikal Bridges, who's just – it seems like just yesterday he was a rookie.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago that Chris Paul carried a Thunder team to
Game 7 of the first round.
They pushed the teams in the playoffs too. Like they weren't just a one and done.
It's funny you bring that up because I think the Thunder that year when Chris Paul was there had like a 0.7% chance to make the playoffs, and they ended up making the playoffs. I think they were the 6th seed, so they weren't like horrible.
Yeah, Chris Paul is just one of those guys that elevates a team.
Elevate and detonate. But I think I'm with you, Jared. I think there's a little bit of concern. I think obviously New Orleans has a better chance to take at least one game, but I think for the most part Phoenix is going to be all right. Here's the problem: New Orleans has a big man, but they're not like DeAndre Ayton. If you just dump it down inside, he'll take you to the back of the shed, every single time. Moving on to the 4-5 seed series, Dallas and Utah. Jalen Brunson. Do you recognize that name?
Not at all.
I'm pretty sure he played for Villanova back in the day.
Okay.
And we'll get to that later. But they beat Utah in Game 2 of the Western quarterfinals, tying the series at 1 game apiece. It was Jalen Brunson's night, like I said. He had dropped, a fourth-year player, dropped 41 points. Here's my thing. You can I'm pretty sure Luka was out for Game 1, but I think he came back for Game 2.
Yeah, he was out for Game 1.
You can let Luka do what you want. But when you let a guy like Jalen Brunson, who doesn't, or at least for me, I don't know him all that well, go off for 41 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists while shooting 15 for 25, and 6 for 10 from the three-point line. I just don't... I thought Utah was a better team than this. You have Spida Mitchell, you got Rudy Gobert, you got Mike Conley. All three of those guys are all-stars. And you have Quinn Snyder, their head coach, who I have plenty of respect for. I just like his style of play. No one's really a superstar. It's all team basketball.
I mean, it's just the same Utah Jazz. So like they've had that core pretty much for the last 4 years or so.
You're right.
And they haven't been able to do anything with it. So I'm not really shocked if they were to lose this series.
Like the best Utah has gone in those past years, I'm pretty sure has been the second round.
Yeah, and I think that was in the bubble.
I think you're right.
When they went, them and the Nuggets won 7 games, I think.
You're right. You're right, because it was Denver and LA in the conference finals that year.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell led the Jazz with 34 points. Bojan Bogdanovic had a pretty nice game. The Mavericks avoid falling into a 2-0 hole going to Utah, which is huge.
Definitely.
And it's going to be interesting to see what happens when Game 3 comes tonight. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's set for. It's either. Yeah, I think it's in Utah. I think it's in Utah.
Yeah, it's in Utah on Saturday.
Yeah,
I think.
Okay. Moving on. We're going to move to the 2-7 series. After the Minnesota Timberwolves shockingly defeat the Grizzlies in Game 1, the Grizzlies said, They said, this isn't happening again. Memphis defeats Minnesota 124-96, tying the series at 1 game apiece. The Grizzlies led for the entirety of the final 3 quarters. Like, you know how in the first quarter, you have back and forth, and then second, third, and fourth, that's like, who's really in the game. John Morant nearly triple-doubled. 23 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists. And a remarkable 7 different players, including 4 off the bench for Memphis, scored in double figures. If that's not, and I love this, if that's not team basketball, I don't know what is. And Anthony Edwards led the Timberwolves with 20 points. And the key to this game, even though it was drawn out in the later quarters, like it was separating, Karl Anthony Towns was in foul trouble most of the game. And so that kind of limited Minnesota, to what they could and couldn't do. And when you have your all-star center, Karl Anthony Towns, limited with him being in foul trouble, there's only so much that D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Edwards can do. Like, it's clear that Anthony Edwards, I think he's a rising star.
I think he might be the best player on the Timberwolves already.
I think, really?
Yeah.
But in front of Cat?
I mean, he's good. Like, Cat's good, but he's never really been like that superstar leader, in my opinion. The one that like goes and gets you a score when you need it. Anthony Edwards has like shown in the playoffs so far that like he's the guy you go to.
There's a reason he was the number 1 pick 2 years ago. Which it's funny because I'm a Charlotte guy, and Anthony Edwards was totally like unmatched or unfazed when he didn't get Rookie of the Year award. Because it was funny because LaMelo Ball only played like 50. No, he had played like 45 games, and then they said, "Oh, you need to play at least 50 to qualify for Rookie of the Year."
Mm-hmm.
So he came back and played those few games, and then he ended up winning the Rookie of the Year, but only a little bit. Do you think that sits in the back of Anthony's mind, just a little bit?
I don't know. Maybe.
All right.
Every athlete's different. Some don't care about the awards at all, and then some people put it up in their gym as motivation.
Yeah. The number 1 overall pick from the University of Georgia. It's about the only thing Georgia basketball has going for them.
Yeah.
No, seriously. Game 3 of that series will also be tonight.
Mm-hmm.
going to Minnesota. Heading on to our final series of the Western Conference, Golden State and Denver. And I think this is one of the more interesting series.
Yeah,
just because you
definitely.
have the plethora of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. And you also have, and then on the other side, you have the NBA MVP last year, Nikola Jokic. And even though, and I'm just going to give it to you straight right here, Golden State beat Denver 2 days ago, 126-106. So they beat them by 20.
Which game did Jokic get ejected in?
Last year.
No, he got kicked out of a game in this series, 1 or 2. I can't remember.
I don't. No, it was game 2.
Okay.
It was this one. Golden State takes a 2-0 lead. Denver had an early lead, but the Warriors went on a major run in the second quarter and carried that momentum into the third quarter. And for what would have amounted to 70 points in a 19-minute span. That's wild.
Golden State's back.
Well, here's the thing. Steph Curry's now coming off the bench. He's their new 6-man.
Well, it's because he's coming back.
I know he's going through rehab, and it's funny. But he went off for 34 points off the bench. Oh, that's just what we know he can do.
Mm-hmm.
And who's this guy, Jordan Poole? You know this guy?
Yeah, no, he's really good. Like
because I've never heard of him until
he could be the third splash where like last year when Thompson was out, he was like the number 2 besides Curry.
He was like the step up guy.
Yeah, and he's
I've
just
never
gotten
heard of
even
this
better
guy.
this year.
I mean, I heard of him because he was really productive in game 1. But Jordan Poole, 29 points, 8 assists.
Mm-hmm.
Nikola Jokic, the Joker, had 26 points and 11 rebounds before receiving his second technical foul in the middle of the fourth quarter. The supporting cast for Denver, it was a rough night. Not that much productive. Tell me, is Jamal Murray still what is
He's with the Nuggets, but he's not playing.
Right, because
he
tore. Gosh, how long ago was that he tore his?
I have no idea.
I don't know. It was a while ago though. The Warriors are cruising to a 2-0 lead going into tonight's game, Game 3, in Denver. Jarrett, is there a shot in the dark that Denver can at least win one of these games, either 3 or 4?
If they don't win tonight, they're getting swept.
Okay.
They got to win tonight.
And here's the thing. They got swept last year by Phoenix in the semifinals.
Mm-hmm.
So to have Denver and Jokic get swept 2 years in a row,
might be time to start changing some things up.
I know it might be. I'm not saying
don't get rid of Jokic, but
no,
as far as like the surrounding pieces,
you might have to. You just need to. Something needs to change. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep.
Something needs to change. When we come back, we're going to talk baseball. We're going to talk a lot about baseball. We're going to talk about attendance numbers and how low they are, specifically with 2 ball clubs. And I think that will be one of the more interesting topics here on the Morning Drive on 90.9 The Light.
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
To buy your home, you became a house hunting ace. Learned about loans, scoured neighborhoods, and asked the right questions. Now you're queen of your castle. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll feel empowered to own your retirement like you own your home. Go to aceyourretirement.org. Because when it comes to clearing financial hurdles, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
For the first time ever, 90.9 The Light will be doing their own NFL Draft Show. Join us on April 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern as we break down the first round of the draft. We will discuss the prospects and break down each team's need. Tune in by visiting our website, thelightonline.com, or download the 90.9 The Light mobile app from the App Store or Google Play. It's the 90.9 NFL Draft Show, April 28th, 8 p.m. Eastern. Be there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived in Philadelphia. Local time is 3:05 p.m. and the temperature is 67 degrees. At this time, you are now free to use your cellular devices.
You know that feeling when you get to turn your phone on after the plane lands? You can have that feeling every time you drive. Make sure your cell phone is stowed away whenever you are behind the wheel.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
And welcome back to the Morning Drive here on 90.9 The Light, WQLU Lynchburg. Going to talk about some baseball. Going to talk about some attendance numbers. But before we get into that, are you looking to buy goods? Do you love deals on used items? Liberty Student Activities is hosting a community yard sale on April 27th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is open to the public. For more information and to register, stop by at liberty.edu/campusrec/students-activities. And so we're having Serve Lynchburg on April 23rd from, I believe, about 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's for any student that wants to participate. But afterwards, after Serve Lynchburg, there's going to be a block party at 5 p.m. in the LaHaye parking lot. Live music, food trucks, carnival rides, local vendors, departments, ice skating, and more. So that'll be something, and it's just like the block party at the beginning of the year. So that'll be something fun to look into. Now, let's dive into baseball. Me and Jarrett were walking from our dorm this morning, and he was giving me, like, his thoughts about, you know, why certain teams in baseball have low attendance numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one in particular team on the West Coast that we were talking about. Jarrett, would you like to elaborate?
Yeah. The two big teams we're talking about today are the Oakland Athletics and the Tampa Bay Rays.
Woo!
Scout's favorite team.
By a spin wheel.
By process of elimination. This is one of the reasons they are your favorite team, if we're being honest.
Okay, yeah. I mean, because, okay, so I went down to Tampa a few years ago. It might have been 2017 or something like that. And, like, when I went to Tropicana Field, they had the upper deck tarped off.
Yeah, they didn't even...
That's right. You went there this summer.
They didn't even sell tickets to the upper deck on opening day. They knew they weren't going to sell them, so they just completely covered it up and only sold the lower section of the stadium. But the Oakland Athletics, the last two nights, their first two home games of the year, so these aren't like random games in summer. Even then, that would still be bad.
Okay.
But these are their first two home games of the year. Had around, I'm going to round up here, had 5,000 in attendance for opening day at home, 4,000 last night. The AAA team in Las Vegas averages 6,000 a night.
What?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And like I was watching those games last 2 nights because they were playing the Orioles.
Yeah.
Those numbers look generous. Like, those look like tickets sold and not people actually there. I would have probably guessed there's only 2,000 there. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So I'm looking on ESPN.com right now, and I'm looking at the MLB attendance. The total numbers... Oh my gosh. Here's the thing. I'm looking around. I'm looking on this site. The Oakland A's, total people there this year, already, 23,954.
This season?
Probably
That's
not.
not accurate.
That's probably not. But the point is, they average their last and average.
Yeah.
It's like 7,000, but like you said, that's probably skewed.
Yeah. Like, they've probably only had 6,000 there this season. It's only been 2 games or so, but yeah, it's not looking too good for the Oakland Athletics. With all the talks of relocation already, this is just gonna.
Well, you know it's the Coliseum, right?
Yeah, I think they might call it something different for baseball, but it's the Coliseum. It's still
because the Raiders. Well, that was a whole mess in of itself, sharing the A's and the Raiders with the ballpark. Do you have Oakland's AA team?
Like their numbers? I can see if I can find them.
And because I saw this a few years ago where the Marlins AA team had more fans. Do you remember this? A few years ago, the Marlins AA team had more fans at a game than the Marlins. And that if you can't find it, that's fine. But I just wanted to throw that out there. And while he's pulling that up, we're excited to now announce that 90.9 The Light will be having its first ever NFL live draft show on April 28th. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. Eastern. You don't want to miss the fun. Do you have the...
Yeah.
All right.
So last season, the Midland Rockhounds averaged 3,000 a game. So if the Athletics don't get better, it's going to be pretty close. So this begs the question, should the Athletics relocate? Because you could argue, like, the fans have a very good reason for not going to games right now. Like, the Athletics were 2 games under 500 last year. They traded off everyone. The owners already want to move to Vegas.
Well,
if I was a fan, I wouldn't show up.
Historically, no, they shouldn't. But sometimes history doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Ask. I mean, I don't know.
I look at it as if the Athletics are going to be continued to run the way they've been run for the last few decades, a move is probably better.
Okay, so let's talk about this. If they're relocating, they're staying West Coast.
Absolutely.
A few cities that come to mind, we were talking about this earlier. Vegas. I would say Portland. And I would say Vancouver. Now, you had told me that there's no way that Vancouver gets a baseball team before Montreal does.
No, there's no way.
And I agree. I'm just saying, as far as the West Coast is concerned, that's probably where you're going to get it.
Yeah.
How far could they go, though? Like, do you think that... Because, like, we've seen it in sports before where... Like, you have cities that are relatively close together, like Oakland and San Francisco, like Kansas City and St. Louis. Is there a city in the United States that is relatively close to an MLB team that you could relocate Oakland to, or do you think it would make it... Like, the reason I'm saying this, like, if you moved into Portland, Seattle's right there. Like, that's Seattle's territory.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have... Wherever you move on the West Coast, you're moving into someone's territory.
I think it's Vegas.
I think it's Vegas, too.
And that's sad because Vegas has literally stripped everything from Oakland.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like in the past 2 years, or when did the Raiders leave? 19? No, 20.
Yeah, something like
because I remember Antonio Brown was still a part of the Oakland Raiders when he was there. So in the past 2 years, the Raiders have moved to Vegas. The Warriors have moved across the bay to San Francisco from Oracle.
Which that isn't as bad.
It's not as bad because it's not like there was a team already in San Francisco in the first place.
Yeah.
But it still hurts, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And now you're thinking about having your baseball team move.
Yeah, I think the
Like-
baseball team is as good as gone at this point.
Like, at this point, you should just have the NHL announce that, yeah, we're not going to expand to that city.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, when Vegas and Portland are both averaging better attendance with AAA teams than the major league team is in Oakland, not good.
yeah, it's not good. Since we're on the topic of expansion for baseball, do you think it's time for Major League Baseball to expand?
They've got to get this whole situation with the Athletics and Rays figured out first. I think the Athletics relocate. The Rays is a much trickier situation because I think there's a fan base. I mean, there's a fan base in Oakland too, but I think the Rays could do so much better moving to Tampa, like instead of St. Petersburg,
As opposed to just relocating altogether.
But I also don't think it's guaranteed that they'll do better. So you don't want to build a whole new stadium in Tampa just to have the same problem. So I think they could end up just completely relocating.
Plus, if you leave Tampa Bay, that only leaves one. I'm sorry, if you leave Florida, that only leaves one team in Florida, and that's Miami.
Well, and you could argue the Marlins are only still in Florida because it's Miami. Like, they don't average great attendance either.
Well, Miami was Florida's team for a long time.
Florida Marlins.
They're the Florida Marlins in my eyes. I still see teal and black.
I mean, they switched back to teal and black. So.
Well, I mean, I guess I
No,
do
that's
still see. But you understand what I'm saying. They went to the orange and black or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But they are granted 3 playoff appearances, but they're the most successful team in Major League Baseball in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
I hope they just move across the bay to Tampa, because I've been to the Yankee spring training place down in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
If you could just expand that, because it's right across from Raymond James. I
don't think that'll happen just because it would involve the
Yankees. That's a ton of traffic, though.
Well, it'll involve the Yankees playing nice with their Rays, and the Yankee Stadium's named after Steinbrenner.
It is.
I don't think they're going to mess with Steinbrenner Stadium. But I do think the Rays' attendance and just fan base in general would benefit greatly from moving to Tampa across the bay.
Yeah. Who else? So let's say that. So within the next 3 years, you think Oakland moves to Vegas?
Yes.
Okay. In the next 3 years, Tampa leaves the state of Florida.
Probably. Oh, them trying to do the whole experiment with Montreal makes me think they're thinking relocation instead of new stadium.
Because
I don't think it's the best. Like, I do think they could succeed in Tampa. But
do you think it costs more to relocate and not build a stadium? Like, let's just say that Tampa Bay relocated to Montreal and played at Olympic Stadium.
Do you think it would from the worst stadium in baseball to the new worst stadium in baseball?
Well, there's a reason why Montreal left.
Yeah.
Because no one came to the games except for the very last game.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's enough baseball talk for today. When we come back, we're going to talk about college basketball. A little bittersweet. A historic head coach announced his retirement yesterday. You don't want to miss it. You're listening to The Morning Drive on 90.9 The Light.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kristen Chenoweth. When our servicemen and women return from war, they often carry wounds that the rest of us cannot see. Up to 1 in 5 veterans who served in Iraq and Afghanistan are diagnosed with post-traumatic stress. And often, even the best treatment, including medication and therapy, they fall short. Sadly, more than 6,000 veterans die every year from suicide. Thanks to the life-saving power of the human-animal bond, professionally trained service dogs can help. But connecting a veteran with a well-trained service dog can be difficult. Wait lists are long and training can cost tens of thousands of dollars. But service dogs can bring healing. If you're a veteran or know a veteran struggling with post-traumatic stress or traumatic brain injury, please go to AmericanHumane.org to learn about their Pups for Patriots program, which provides dogs to veterans for free of charge. Let's help our veterans heal from the invisible wounds of war.
Hey everybody, it's time for today's STEM tip. Want to know how to make your selfies even better? Okay, let's use science. The best time for photos is golden hour. That's the moment right before the sun sets, when the atmosphere scatters blue and violet wavelengths, making perfect, soft, and golden selfie light to show off that beautiful face of yours. Click. Check out Chic and STEM for more inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
Don't miss the Ball Boys every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. right here on 90.9 The Light with Joshua Lepowski and Riley Klingman, as they are a couple of college students who peaked at sports in high school, and they look to play armchair, well, whatever, and tell you what you should think and know about topics at Liberty in college and professional sports. No takes will be held back. The show can be found over the airwaves on 90.9 The Light, online at thelightonline.com, or on the 90.9 mobile app found in the App Store and Google Play. It's the Ball Boys on 90.9 The Light, music for our generation.
And welcome back to the Morning Drive on 90.9 The Light, WQLU Lynchburg. Scout Hughes, Jarrett Harper. Before we get into the breaking news that happened yesterday, as I was saying before, 90.9 The Light's having a live NFL draft show on April 28th. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You don't want to miss out. You have a plethora of representatives from the station and media outlets here at Liberty University. Representing the Morning Drive, myself, Scout Hughes, and Josiah Elmore. Representing Erie to Atlantic, myself and Joey Palermo. Representing Zero Quarters, TJ Wilkerson and Zach Wheeler. Representing the Ball Boys, Joshua Lepowski and Kevin Gora. Also, Kevin Gora is a member of the Liberty Champion and a Sea of Red recruiting. So we have a plethora of analysts that will be on the panel that night. It's going to be a very special night. We are definitely going to air it on the radio. We're still trying to get the kinks worked out for the live stream right now, but we are going to get there. It's going to be a fantastic night, and you don't want to miss it. So stay tuned for more updates on that. Breaking news coming out of college basketball yesterday. Hall of Fame coach from Villanova, Jay Wright, is reportedly retiring after 21 seasons, which kind of came out of nowhere. Yesterday, Wright elevated Villanova into one of the nation's most successful programs, redefining Villanova as a blue blood, guiding the Wildcats to 2 national championships and 4 total Final Fours, including this past year, losing to Kansas in the semifinal, the eventual national champion. Wright is in rare territory with being a head coach with 2 national championships, along with being loved by universally, everybody. Like, I don't know a single person that has like a bad rap on Jay Wright. He went 520 and 197 during his 21 years with the Wildcats. He reached 500 wins this year, which I think is a fantastic feat for any coach. And Villanova has already hired their replacement. Just very quickly. Very quick. Villanova, after a few minutes of consideration, is hiring Kyle Neptune as its new head basketball coach, replacing Hall of Famer Jay Wright. It seems that it's clear that Villanova knew who they were going to hire straight out of the gate, and hopefully Neptune can carry out their success. Neptune, who's only 37 years old, spent last season as the head coach at Fordham, guiding a typically basement-dwelling Rams program to a 500 season and led them to the A-10 quarterfinals. But here's the catch. Neptune spent 8 seasons as an assistant under Wright at Villanova from 2013 to 2021. Earning Wright's trust to become his successor after yesterday's surprise announcement. We'll see if Coach Neptune will continue leading Villanova to the glory that we're used to seeing. Like we said earlier, he is 16, and he was 16 and 16 at Fordham, so he has that experience. But I want to talk about Jay Wright for a little bit. He came to Villanova in 2001, 34 and 16 in the NCAA tournament, 27 and 15 in the Big East tournament, which is wild. He's an 8-time Big East regular season champion and a 5-time Big East tournament champion. 2-time Naismith College Coach of the Year. He's a 6-time Big East Coach of the Year. And he was part of the and he was the AP, voted by the Associated Press, voted AP Coach of the Decade for the decade 2010s. Inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2021. And he has a gold medal as an assistant for the United States when they played in Tokyo in 2020. Well, representing the 2020 Olympics, played in 2021. Jarrett, what impact does Jay Wright have on Villanova? And then what impact does he have on college basketball?
I mean, I don't know nearly as much as you do, but from what you've been saying, it sounds like it's the reason Villanova is the powerhouse they are today.
Yeah.
So as far as even college basketball goes, that leaves a vacuum to be filled in a sense of who's going to take that place. I mean, North Carolina got back this year, but you saw last year as things were kind of winding down with Roy Williams, just how bad they kind of got.
Yeah, and it's funny you bring that up because, like you said, we're seeing a lot of legendary coaches step down. Now, Roy Williams, I get.
Yeah.
When I saw him faint,
definitely.
And fall down on the bench against Boston College, I was like, listen, man. I think it's time.
Yeah.
Now, Coach K, I mean, I saw him limping a little bit when he was walking. Did you notice that?
I mean, it's just age.
Yeah, right. It's just age. But I felt like he could have gone another year.
Yeah, but I mean,
I feel like
with all these coaches, like, yeah, they obviously love coaching, so there's that to it. But what else do they have left to do? Like, you win 500 games, you're a Hall of Famer, you've won national championships. You really got nothing left to do.
No, and he's younger. Well, he's young in quotes, younger than some of these other coaches that are retiring. Like, I think Coach K was, 75?
Yeah, Wright's about 10 years younger than...
Yeah, Wright's 15. He's 60. Or Coach K's either 70 or 75. I can't remember. But, yeah, he just turned 60 this past December. So, I think he's relatively in the younger stages of retirement. Mm-hmm. Like, fantastic for him. But the game... before he came to Villanova had only won one national title, and that was off of a miracle in 1985 when they beat Patrick Ewing, and I think Villanova is the lowest seed to ever win a national title in 1985. I think they were an 8 seed.
Yep, 8 seed.
And to beat not just Patrick Ewing, but to beat your conference opponent in the national title game. Like, Villanova is definitely not what they are today. Sticking with college basketball, the AP Player of the Year. Now, if you can help me with this name, it's okay if you can't. It's for Kentucky. Oscar Tshiebwe. Does that sound right?
Sounds right.
He's okay. So the Wooden Player of the Year, Oscar Tshiebwe,
coming back.
He's returning to Kentucky for the 2022-23 season.
Yeah.
I think, based on this year, the way Kentucky finished, I think John Calipari is like getting giddy in his seat right now.
He's on the hot seat?
He's happy.
He's happy he's going. Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, anytime you get the Player of the Year.
Yeah. And the last time, and I saw this yesterday, the last time a Wooden Award winner returned, obviously most of the Wooden Award winners recently have been seniors and upperclassmen, but this one was Tyler Hansborough back in 2000. He came back for the 2008-9 season, and then he declared for the draft, and then he got drafted. Tshiebwe averaged 17.4 points per game and 15.2 rebounds per game at Kentucky last season after transferring from West Virginia, emerging as one of the most dominant forces in college basketball. He was... I wonder what were the factors in him coming back.
I think it's very similar to Luka Garza at Iowa.
Okay.
Last year when he came back for 2021.
Right.
Is that he's really good at college basketball.
But then the pro level.
But at the pro level, he's going to get drafted, but he's not going in the spot where I saw something that he's going to make $2 million off NIL deals.
I see that too. I saw that too, yeah.
He was not going to go in a draft spot where his contract would be more than that.
And I think you're right.
So I think money talks in this situation.
I hope this is an upward trend to where NIL deals convince players to stay.
Yeah, because it makes sense for the player. Like, you're going to make money, but you're also you're coming back to increase your skills too.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think
if he
it
goes
hurts
into the
at all.
NBA now,
yeah,
he's probably going to end up on a G League team somewhere maybe, or on the bench somewhere, and not get an opportunity to really play to his potential.
Right. It'll be good for Kentucky. It'll be good for the game of college basketball. And you know what else is going to be good? Tuning in tomorrow for the Friday edition of the Morning Drive. It's been good. It's been fun. And I've had a good time. For Jarrett Harper, I'm Scout Hughes. See you guys tomorrow for the Morning Drive on 90.9 The Light.
WQLU, Lynchburg.
A broadcast service of Liberty University.